What is up, guys? Sneaky Kackis here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we've got some brand spankin' new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just been released unveiling official information. Now, it's definitely been a very, very big week for Destiny 2 news. We had the unveiling of the brand new Season of Dawn coming very soon, next reset, Tuesday, December 10th, in fact. And so much information came out. Today we got additional information on some of the content and some of the features of Season of Dawn, as well as some info on some of the Sandbox changes coming as soon as Season of Dawn launches. So on December 10th, not only will the new content go live, but we are getting a patch that will buff some things, nerf some things, etc. So let's get started here by, first off, taking a look at the new and improved way of the sharpshooter. So Bungie tweeted out a bunch of little videos showcasing some of the new skills and perks coming to this subclass in action. All of the solar subclasses for Hunter, Titan, and Warlock are getting changes and buffs in Season of Dawn, so this is kind of our first look at some of these new things. First off, we have a look at the new sticky knife. This is going to obviously complement trip mines in the way you're seeing on screen right now. Set them both up for a one-hit kill trap. By the way, I apologize for the quality, but it's just on Twitter, which is the worst video playing platform on the planet, but I digress. Next up, we have a look at the bonus to the Knock 'em Down perk, which is going to let you get precision kills, and that's going to ramp up the damage of your super. And we can see it doing pretty insane damage to this Fallen Walker. And lastly, it's the big one, the brand new one-hit kill knife coming to Hunter. And you can see right here, frankly, this has a faster charge up than I was expecting. And so this thing could be real deadly coming next season. If you're a Hunter main, if you like throwing knives, you're in luck. In any event, let's move on and talk about more changes coming when Season of Dawn launches. So, Bungie went over a bunch of different things. Firstly, let's talk about the power level cap. Surprisingly, this was not mentioned anywhere in the first full reveal of the DLC on December 3rd or the live stream on December 4th, but today, Bungie said that the power level cap is going up in Season of Dawn, but not as much as you may expect. So, the normal powerful cap is going up to 960 from where it currently is at 950. And then the pinnacle cap is going up to 970 from where it currently is at 960. So that's very interesting. If you are someone like me and a lot of other people out there who've been doing their pinnacles and you're already at 960, powerfuls aren't going to matter at all in Season of Dawn. You are instantly chasing pinnacle gear again. So that is definitely a much less of a power level increase than we've experienced in the past. So it looks like this season and the seasons coming after that are going to have these little power level jumps, but be more focused on getting gear and crafting builds. We're going to have to see how that pays off. Moving on from there, there is some changes to rewards dropping with Season of Dawn. So firstly, they've increased the drop rate of Scourge of the Past, the Raid Exotic, the Anarchy from 5% to 10%. So double the chance of getting your Anarchy. It's still one of the best weapons in the game. I would highly recommend going after it. Moving on from there, the Exotic Engram and Faded Engram have been collapsed into a single new exotic item. That's interesting. When opened, it awards a new exotic if any remain to be collected. Otherwise, it contains a random piece of exotic armor. Note, contents are still class specific. This is a huge positive change because right now I've gotten a bunch of exotic engrams this season and I've gotten the stupid Merciless exotic fusion rifle like 3 times. And guess what? That doesn't matter at all. So limiting it to armor is fantastic because obviously you're still totally happy with getting a duplicate exotic armor piece that you already own because you can get a fantastic stat roll on it. You can get a 65 stat syntheseps, right? And that is so much better than what it is now, with weapons being totally pointless to get duplicates of, so that is a huge positive improvement. Not to mention that Zur just got way more important, because if you already have all exotics like myself, you haven't visited Zur in weeks, months, it doesn't matter, there's no reason to go to him. But now with this change, it's going to be worth buying an exotic engram, because there's no more faded engram, every single week on all 3 of your characters to get a crack at a god stat roll piece of exotic armor. So that's really sweet as well. Moving on from there, Escalation Protocol. The Wave 7 chest will no longer require a key to open. The chest can be opened upon every successful completion of Wave 7. Each time, the chest awards 1 piece of armor for your character class until you have the full set. After the full set is acquired, subsequent opening of the chest awards a random piece of armor. The charged decryption keys and key fragments are being removed from the game. These items will be removed from player inventories. Armory keys to spawn Valkyrie javelins are unchanged and will remain. And the EP weapon drops were not touched and are still cumulative stream boss drops. Moving on, weapon mods. The cost of slotting weapon mods has been reduced from 5,000 glimmer to 500 glimmer. Fantastic! Now you can try out different things. Is Rampage spec going to be better than Major spec or Minor spec? Well, now you can actually experiment instead of losing all your glimmer when you try to do so. Also, they fixed an issue where Ada 1 could grant duplicate weapon mods. Moving on from there, for bounties. A big one, repeatable bounties have been added to the gunsmith. So that's going to be a really important source when it comes to increasing the power level of your seasonal artifact next season, because gunsmith bounties are universal. So now the fastest way to level up is likely going to be going to the tower, grabbing a crap ton of repeatable bounties, and then going and maybe grabbing sundial bounties or whatever and doing other stuff, because you can be completing these gunsmith bounties at the same time you're doing whatever activities out there. Moving on from there, they merged Strike, Crucible, and Gambit objectives on the Gunsmith Weekly Bounty field calibration into a single objective that shares progress from all sources. Fantastic. They removed the Valor/Infamy and Vanguard tokens from field calibration, as there is no longer a requirement for any of these linked activities. They added a new mode-specific daily Crucible bounties, so 1 per day selected from the full-time playlist and active rotators. They reduced the completion requirements of several daily and repeatable Crucible bounties. They removed grenade and melee bounties from the Crucible bounty repeatable pool because those are annoying. And then let's talk about some buffs. So this is kind of one that's pretty sweet that kind of came out of nowhere. The Striker Code of the Missile middle path. So for Thundercrash, they increased the base damage from 2,700 to 3,200. So straight up more powerful. And they increased the in-flight damage from 100 to 200. Lastly, they slightly increased the amount of time you have in the air after activation. So, one of the interesting things about Thundercrash is that while you're flying through the air, you can technically hit targets while flying. And now it's going to be a 1-hit kill in the Crucible, doing 200 damage, unless you have like max resilience. So I expect some crazy clips coming out of people flying through an entire team with Thundercrash instead of killing them with that explosion. Potentially flying through multiple enemies and then Thundercrashing even more enemies beyond that point. But that's very cool. Moving on from there, we have another change to the Night Stalker Way of the Pathfinder, which is the bottom path. So for Vanish in Smoke, added a short period, 0.8 seconds, after the invisibility is applied, where firing weapons or performing other actions will not break invisibility. This should help prevent allies from accidentally breaking invisibility the moment it's granted to them if unexpected. That is so sweet. So you can yoink your smoke at your teammates and they are actually able to get like a shot or two off and still be invisible. So potentially expect some sick Crucible plays of making your teammate invisible, having them pop out of cover at that exact moment, get a snipe off, and they're still invisible this entire time, which is dope. And obviously in PvE, very, very useful for, you know, if your teammates need that invisibility and you throw it to them, if they're like shooting their gun when they're getting hit, it's not going to break it automatically, which is a great quality of life improvement. Moving on from there, the Voidwalker attunement of Fission, the middle path for handheld Supernova, adjusted grenade charge time so it lines up with the animation and effects. This should make it feel more consistent to activate. I don't think it needed any help, to be honest, Bungie, but moving on from there, for Crucible maps, they added Rusted Lands to appropriate playlists. They added The Dead Cliffs, Legion's Gulch, Retribution, and Solitude to appropriate playlists, and they removed Emperor's Respite, Equinox, Firebase Echo, and Vostok from all Crucible playlists. These maps are still available, however, in private matches. So if you hate those maps, well, you're in luck. Moving on from there, Bungie took some time to talk about Eververse, and there has definitely been some pushback this season with some of the choices Bungie has made. It's a lot more difficult to get Bright Dust, and a lot of the items, the community is just very confused on what is silver only, what will appear as Bright Dust available later in the season. So Bungie says for silver only content, that by the end of Season of the Undying, around 50% of Eververse content will have been offered for Bright Dust. But in Season of Dawn, they're going to increase that up to 80% of the Eververse content will eventually be available for Bright Dust at some point during the season. So that's a great improvement. And they've said that we've also heard you say that you want to know what will be offered for silver only so you can plan what you are interested in buying. And they say that's a good point. We got to have better transparency. So we plan to share on social media every week what items will be for silver only during the season as they appear on Eververse. So again, that's a great change. Like, are you going to buy that exotic ghost, or is it going to appear later for Bright Dust? Right now, it's very confusing, so that is fantastic. Also, Bright Dust itself is getting easier to acquire next season. So they say in Season of Dawn, all dawning, weekly, and repeatable bounties will award Bright Dust in quantities equal to the amount awarded from Strike, Crucible, and Gambit. So 200 per weekly and 10 per repeatable bounties. So Season of Dawn is going to launch December 17th, and it's going to last quite a while. So as long as that's active, if you're doing those bounties, you are going to be getting Bright Dust as well. They also say Crimson Days will do the same for weekly bounties only, as this event does not include repeatable bounties. So this is good news as well. It just means that there's going to be more sources for Bright Dust this season than last season. Another great change, Eververse will no longer permit you to buy an item that's already in your collection. So if you get confused or you just forget and you buy an extra ghost shell but you already had it, right now you just kind of lose that resource. That's not going to happen anymore. And so guys, that is it for the news today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.